You've been taught your entire life if you want to be healthy and lose weight, you need to eat 3 balanced meals plus 2 snacks every single day. Then the bodybuilder crowd stepped in and told you to eat 6 small meals each day, and be sure to make sure those meals are mostly protein. At the same time, you're constantly bombarded with ads from fast food restaurants telling you to eat a 4th meal. Obviously, pulling through a drive-thru isn't the way to loosen up those jeans. Unless, of course, you're undoing the top button after you ate all of the tacos and now you're a mix of full, bloated, and depressed because you realize eating a 4th meal isn't the answer you've been searching for. And then you vow to do better tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and you throw away all of the junk in your house. Salads. Salads are now your answer. You'll eat 3 big salads plus 2 small salads as snacks each day. But wait, that doesn't sound quite right either. What about those 6 small meals you heard about? Right, so now you're going to eat 6 small salads that are loaded with protein each day. So you eat your 6 small salads that are loaded with protein, but in reality, all you keep thinking about are freaking tacos from the drive-thru. There's got to be a better way. Enter intermittent fasting, the newest and hottest diet trend that's really been around since the Middle Ages. Yep, that's a pretty long trend intermittent fasting has got going on. Even though fasting has been around for centuries, and even though it's an amazing tool that you can add to your health and weight loss routine in order to speed up results without all of the complications the mainstream typically adds, people still make it so freaking complicated. To make intermittent fasting an easier plan for you to follow, today I'm going to talk about 3 do's that you should follow when adding an intermittent fasting plan to your routine. I lost more than 100 pounds, reversed diabetic blood sugar levels, and was featured in People magazine because of all of my intermittent fasting success, so I'd say I definitely learned at least a few of the right things to do. Okay, I learned way more than a few things since I lost over 100 pounds that I've maintained for nearly 3 years. I just thought being modest here was the right thing to do. I mean, People magazine featured me in a bikini for millions of people to see, and I'm constantly talking about my success of losing more than 100 pounds, so I'm not really sure why all of a sudden I'm worried about modesty. Anyway, let's get back to 3 of my big do's when it comes to finding amazing success with intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting do number 1. Do wait until you're fat adapted until you try to add in longer fasting periods. Some people hear about the magic of fasting and then they rush to these longer 16 to 24 hour fasts the very next day. And then they end up feeling like death. Now you might get confused about why you feel so bad fasting 16 hours or longer when everyone else on the fasting bandwagon boasts of feeling amazing with boundless energy. The difference between you and the person who's doing cartwheels down the hallway just because they have extra energy to burn is their bodies are fat adapted. Since you rush right into an intermittent fast like it ain't no thing, suddenly for your body, it's a huge thing. For some people, following a 12-hour fast while not quite fat adapted can be okay. But if you want to start extending your fasting period to those longer fasts like 16 hours plus, you could be stressing your body out big time if it's not already accustomed to running on stored fat. If your body is still running on glucose as its primary fuel source, it will wait for more glucose to come in, which means you'll feel miserable since you're not providing any fuel for your body. If you haven't allowed your body time to become fat adapted, your body just can't switch over to burning stored fat because you say so. Your body needs time and guidance to transition to burning stored fat for fuel. You've basically been running off of glucose you just ate your entire life. You need to take time to teach your body that there's a new fuel source in town, and that excess fuel source is the fat on your thighs. Yes, burning stored fat for fuel is something we're born with. But in our modern world where sugar is added to even the foods we feed our babies, we need to take time to retrain our bodies how to function properly. If you're completely confused about how to become fat adapted prior to extending your fasting window to longer periods, I got you covered. I'm going to talk about how you can work on becoming better fat adapted in fasting do's number 2 and 3. Intermittent fasting do number 2. Do start with smaller fasting windows and work your way up to longer fasts. One way to become fat adapted more quickly is to extend your fasting window longer. But when you're working on extending your fasting windows longer, it kind of turns into a chicken and an egg thing. Which comes first, becoming fat adapted or extending your fast in order to become fat adapted? Both. Extending your fasting window from 12 hours through longer fasting times like 16 to 24 hours is best done over time to allow your body the chance to adapt. You've likely been fueling your body with at least 3 meals and 2 snacks most of your life. If all of a sudden you decide you're just not going to eat for 16 hours each day because you heard that's how people are getting fat loss results, you could be stressing your body out. You've trained your body to expect more fuel every 2 to 3 hours for years. And now you just stop eating for long periods of time the very next day. When your body expects fuel to come in that never arrives, it's going to freak out and hold on to your stored fat for dear life. But if you train your body over time to go a little bit longer and then even a little longer without fuel, this will help you become more fat adapted over time. This will help ease you into longer fasting periods without so much stress to your body. You're going to feel better while making this transition, and you'll also see better results. Intermittent fasting do number 3. Do follow a healthy keto meal plan both on fasting and feasting days. If you've been paying attention, you heard me mention in previous videos that intermittent fasting works best when adding your IF routine to a keto plan that's high in fat and low in carbs. This is because following a keto plan will also help your body become fat adapted by keeping insulin spikes low. When your insulin spikes are low, your body is able to tap into stored fat. This means you're going to run off of the fat stored on your butt rather than your body expecting you to shove more food into your face for fuel. Since we already got that part down in previous videos, let's talk about when you start pushing your fast even longer than 12 to 14 hours. What about when you're ready to go 16, 18, or even 24-hour long fast? It's pretty amazing, right? Having the ability to make it a full 24 hours without stuffing food in your face is freaking amazing. I remember the first time I made it 24 full hours without eating a drop of food. I wanted to climb a mountain and shout it to the world. Since this is such an amazing accomplishment, you deserve a victory meal, right? Taco Bell, Mama's coming home. Stop right there before you have a mix of hot sauce and cinnamon dust all over your little deprived face. Just because you went up to 24 hours without food doesn't mean you should celebrate this win with all of the junk food that you can shove into your face. During the time you just fasted, your body was ridding itself of junk through a process called autophagy. You just did a whole lot of healing by getting rid of the cellular junk that's been slowing you down. If you celebrate your big victory by adding more junk back into your body the first chance you get, you're pretty much ruining all of the work you put into healing over your fasting window. To make sure you're getting the most out of your fasting plan, stick with your real food keto diet once you break your fast. Keep eating the foods that will allow your hormones to heal instead of jumping right back into that diet mentality of, wow, I just dieted so hard for 24 hours and now I deserve a reward. In all honesty, the best reward you can ever give yourself is the reward of healing with real foods that will keep your health and weight loss results coming. Okay, let's review my 3 intermittent fasting do's. Do number 1. Do wait until you're fat adapted until you try to add in longer fasting periods. Do number 2. Do start with smaller fasting windows and work your way up to longer fast. Do number 3. Do follow a healthy keto meal plan both on fasting and feasting days. If you want to hear even more intermittent fasting do's and don'ts, be sure to tune into episodes 32 and 33 of Chat the Fat, where we have an entire 2-part episode talking all about the intermittent fasting do's and don'ts we could think of, so that way you can see more success by adding this tool to your routine. You can even cheat a little and get the full list of do's and don'ts at chatthefat.com/episode 32. If I don't see you on Instagram or Facebook before then, I'll see you next week when I'm going to talk about 3 big intermittent fasting don'ts. Well, most people assume fasting is just periods of time of eating followed by periods of time of not eating. There's so much more that goes into successfully adding fasting into your routine. Come back next week so you'll be the next intermittent fasting success story.